Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of MoodTube. I'm your host, Paul Malamud. Now, unfortunately, I had a crazy week, so I was not able to get around to doing a recap of the Jets versus Lions debacle from Sunday. So I'm going to address that awful game right now before I get into giving you my picks for this week. And that was just flat out awful. It was a devastating game to be at. I was truly just dejected afterwards. I was just like empty feeling. I was mad. I was sad. I didn't really know what I was feeling. But the defense they played well, but I don't know if it's asking too much of them because they've done every single thing they can to keep the Jets in the game every game this year and to give them the best chance to win every game so far this year. But they just can't allow the Lions to march down the field like that with a hobbled Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, and just march down the field and score right after they come close to draw. Right after the Jets score to open the third quarter. I mean, you just can't do that. You have to be able to play situational football and know that that's not the time to allow a team to go down and score. You have to sense that the momentum is turning in your favor, and you have to dig your feet in and just not let them beat you. I mean, obviously, the real problems come down to the offense. Geno Smith did not play well. I'm not. The interception was just inexcusable. That was a horrible read. It was something that it was just a horrible throw. He has to. It was a pretty simple read that he should have been able to make. Yes, they did a good job of disguising their coverage, but the ball was nowhere close to Decker, and it was just thrown right to the Lions defender. As for the strip sack, I mean, that play in and of itself was not that bad. Quarterbacks get hit from the blind side while they're throwing the ball. That happens sometimes. I'm not gonna fault him for that specifically because if it had just been that and it hadn't been all these turnovers all year long, that fumble is not really a problem with me. But because he leads the NFL in turnovers, it has to be a problem. And Marty Morningwig, again, I don't understand it. Chris Ivory was killing the Lions on that first drive and for the better part of the game on the ground. But yet, after that first drive, he hardly saw any touches the rest of the game. He needs to stop going away from. Yes, I understand the fact that you can't just run the ball with Ivory every single down because he's gonna wear down. And he's not gonna be able to last. That you need to protect him for the full season. But there's no excuse to not give him continued touches throughout the game and to just abandon giving to him. Yes, Chris Johnson was finally able to do something and break that long TD run, but with the exception of that, he was yet again awful. Now, yes, Ivory did completely screw the Jets with those two drop screen passes, but I mean, the week before he had a good game as a receiving weapon. He's still not going to be an elite receiver out of the backfield. So it's something that we're going to have to put up with if we want him to be the feature back, which I do. So Marty Morningwig, do a better job of calling the plays. Do a better job of getting Chris Ivory the rock. He's been our best offensive weapon so far this year. I don't know why you're going away from him. If they're gonna win in San Diego this week, he's gonna have to have a great game, and obviously Geno just he needs to not turn the ball over. Having said that, I'm not ready to hand the reins over to Mike Vick. I was livid at fans in the stands Sunday when they were chanting for Mike Vick. I was almost going along the lines of Geno. It's Geno. Yes, he has played sloppy, but he's still, I think, our best option right now. People are glorifying what Michael Vick is going to be. Geno outperformed him in the preseason, and this is not like vintage Mike Vick, who we can trust to stay healthy for a whole season and lead us. That's not what's going to happen. Like, Michael Vick's very turnover prone himself. He's very often injured. Michael Vick is not necessarily the answer to our prayers. Could he come in and miraculously lead the Jets on a great run? Yes, but I don't think it's that time. It's not close to that time. Geno needs this game. I think he plays this game, and then if he plays bad and they lose, and then he starts the Broncos game off poorly, then I think you can bring Vic in. But definitely not this game. And if he plays poorly this game, I still think you start Vic next game. I mean, you start Geno next game, but you have him on a very short lease against the Broncos. I mean, but the moral of the story is, like Aaron Rodgers said to Packers fans, RELAX, relax. The Jets, yes, they're 1-3, But they are so close. This division, the AFC East division, is so far up for grabs. It's incredible. The Patriots playing as poorly as they have so far this season is like a Christmas wish come true. The Jets could lose this game and still very much this division can be won at 9-7. So we need to just keep on. Jets fans, all I gotta say, as the shirt says, keep calm and jet on. We're going to be fine. It's still very early in the season. There's plenty of time to turn the ship around. So, having said that, I'm going to move on to giving you my picks. Last week, I went 5 for 7. Unfortunately, a lot of them were involved in parlays, so I didn't necessarily hit on them all. But 5 for 7 last week. The week before, I went 4 and 5. That's got me at 9 and 12 the last 2 weeks. I'm hot. I've got 6 picks for you that I like this week, so take it for what you will. First, I've got the Bears getting 3 points on the road against the Panthers. Yes, they did not look good against the Packers, but still, I'm not gonna count out this. I'm not gonna count out this Bears offense. Brandon Marshall is healthy now. Forte is getting things going on the ground. He still hasn't scored, but he did some things, getting some yards. I like the Bears to win this game, especially with them getting 3 points. I'll take that any day. So I got the Bears +3. Next, I've got the Eagles giving up 6.5 to the Rams. Their offense looked awful last week against the 49ers. I mean, it was just a joke. But the Rams are not the 49ers. And the Rams are very susceptible against the run. And I think Nick Foles is going to find a way to get some points on the board. I like them to win this one at home by more than a touchdown. I'm taking the Eagles giving up 6.5. Next, I'm going with an over and under. The Saints versus Bucks game, I'm taking the over. It's 48 points. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. The Saints' defense is just not good, and they just lost Jerry's Bird. The Bucks, I mean, we all know what can be done against their defense. Yeah, and the Bucks also put up some points last week against a pretty decent Steelers defense. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I think the Saints win this one. It was too high of a spread for me to take the Saints with the spread. I would take them money line. But for betting this game, just stick to the over. It's going to be high-scoring. Saints, Bucks, over a 48. Next, I'm taking the Colts at home, giving up 3 points to the Ravens. Andrew Luck and his offense is on fire. They're going to keep putting up points. They're going to win this game by more than 3 points. Make sure you take this bet game. It's gonna hit. Colts -3 against the Ravens, and I hope I just didn't jinx myself, but oh well. Next game, I got the Steelers giving up 6 points against the Jags. Last week I said that I'm gonna be taking whoever's playing the Jags, and I'm just gonna take the favorite team in that game until the Jags prove me wrong. Their offense did some things against the Chargers last week, against a good Chargers defense, and the Steelers blew a game against the Bucks that they should have had. But I just don't see it happen 2 weeks in a row. I think they're a proud team with a proud quarterback, a proud coach. They're not going to let this happen again. They're going to beat the Jags by more than 6 points. Take the Steelers. And lastly, I really wanted to take the Chiefs over the Patriots on Monday night, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I thought that it was my just Jets bias getting in the way, so I held myself back, and we all know what happened on Monday night. The Chiefs just came out and absolutely demolished the Patriots. With the Bengals going into Gillette Stadium this week, I don't see them being able to turn around. The Bengals are only giving up 1 point. I mean, yeah, I like them. The Bengals look like the best, most complete team in football so far this year. They're coming off the bye. They're well rested. They had plenty of time to prepare for what they've been seeing against the Patriots. I like the Bengals to go into Gillette Stadium and beat them. And if the Jets win this game, the Bengals and the Bills lose, they're going to be a half game out of first place after that horrible three game losing streak. And also, Jets fans, I want you to keep in mind that Rex Ryan's first year with the Jets, they lost 3 games in a row twice, and they still made it to the playoffs. And then we all know what happened once they got into the playoffs. They made it to the AFC Championship game and just fell about a half of football short of making it to the Super Bowl. So, no need to freak out. Keep calm. Jet on. That's all I've got for you in this week's episode of Mood Tube. Make sure to check back next week. But just remember, you got to check out the tube because I've got those sports for your every mood.